Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and it's cold outside.
It is very cold and it is
Baby,
snowy.
it's cold outside.
And my heart is happy because I love this weather and I love the snow and I love everything being white and I love everything about it.
The snow was pretty. Boy, the flakes came down big the other day.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I wonder if they were expecting as much snow as we got.
I think originally they said 2 to 4. Mm-hmm. And I think that we got maybe, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe it's going to be what the persimmons say this year?
It said it had a spoon.
Said got a spoon. That means a lot of scooping.
Yeah.
What's the other one? A fork is mild, right?
Or icy, maybe.
No. Oh yeah, the fork is icy, and the knife is super frigidly cold because you're so cold it's something like
cut it with a knife. Okay.
Like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just know the spoon. Wonder how much truth is to that.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I mean, a long time ago there might have been more truth to it than there is now. Now I think the weather's sort of manipulated, but that's me.
Yeah, the weather's totally manipulated.
So, anywho, without getting too controversial.
Controversial is my middle name.
Yeah.
Or is it conspiracy theorist? Stacey Lynn, conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, that has a nice ring to it.
I'm pretty sure.
Has a nice ring to it. But I'm excited about the holidays. I'm excited that it's cold and I like a white December. So I'm happy with the weather, and you know, Jason, my husband, always says, well, you like it because you don't have to go anywhere, you don't have to drive. I mean, I work from home, so he's right. Like I'm not working outside in it, and I do hate it for people that have to be outside in it. I'm sure that they hate it, but I like it.
I don't like the cold. I've never liked the cold. I like the heat, but
the
but
cold never bothered me anyway.
It never bothered you anyway, Miss Frozen. You're supposed to sing that.
I don't sing.
The cold never bothered me anyway.
Yeah, you can sing for me.
So I got today, I've got my little man's kindergarten Christmas program today.
Oh, that'll be good.
I think they start them earlier and earlier every year. Mm-hmm. Because I also remember back in the day that like you had your Christmas program, you left at school early, and boom, then you had your Christmas break. This is like the first, what is the date today?
Well, today's only the
I don't even know what day it is.
Today's the 3rd. But, there's so many grades that they have to get through. Back in your day, it was kind of everyone in the school probably did it at the same day.
Did it at the same time.
Now there's so many parents that would come, you couldn't. So they break it down, at least at Flora, where it's like pre-K and kindergarten together, and then first, second together, and then 3rd, 4th, and 5th are together, and that way parents, which means if you have kids in multiple grades, you go multiple times. But the whole attending those things was never in my favorite list of things to do. I know people though that love it and they adore their kids and they're just and to me, I'm just this bleacher is killing me back. Mm-hmm. My kid doesn't even have a speaking part. My kids are always tall, so they're always on the back row. You can barely see them.
Yeah.
1 year I told one of my kids, I'm like, see if you can get on the front row. I'd like to see you this year.
Right.
And they're like, no way. Our teachers already said I had to be in the back. And anyway.
The worst one for me, one of my boys, Connor, went to 4th and 5th grade at Lincoln School. Oh my gosh. And I literally, because there's no parking.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I literally pulled off of New 50 and
parked on the highway?
Pretty much parked, and walked that entire, like where 12th Street, New 50 and 12th Street. I literally was parked right there on 12th Street.
Oh, my.
I walked that whole thing.
Oh, my.
And I even kind of got there early. That happened for 2 years.
Wow.
And I even got there an hour early. And
oh, my gosh, that's crazy.
It was awful. And I'm so I do like the elementary, with more parking, that type of thing. But Jack's program's today at 1. I'll probably get there a little after 12:15. Sit there.
I can remember the Christmas program of 2011 at the grade school. I believe it was at... what year does the new building built? I think it was at McKendree, this particular one I'm talking about, 2011. Yeah, it was.
elementary.
It was at McKendree School, which is now Christchurch. And Malia was in it. She had a song to sing. And I was pregnant with Silas about 5 or 6 months. I was about 6 months pregnant. And Carissa was 2 years old, and she fell asleep on my lap on those bleachers, the wooden bleachers.
Oh,
and so I'm pregnant, and I've got holding this sleeping 2-year-old, which after an hour gets really heavy.
It's really heavy.
And I hadn't felt good for a few days, and my back hurt really, really bad. And I was so miserable. My back hurt so bad. I'd been going to the chiropractor. Just thought something was wrong with my back. I didn't want to wake her up, and then I had a long walk to the car. My mom was with me. The thing was over. I'm carrying this 2-year-old.
Oh, gosh.
Jessica Holloway was there. She saw I was miserable, and she said, let me carry her to the car for you.
Yeah.
And she took sleeping Carissa from me. She carried her to my car, and I went home, and my back hurt all night, and that baby was born the next day.
Oh.
I was in labor that whole entire time. That's why my back hurt so bad. But because he was so early, he was born at 25 weeks, I didn't know I was in labor. I mean, it was my third kid, but I hadn't had back labor with the other 2 kids. And I didn't think about it being labor. I just thought my back was out. Because I just wasn't expecting to have him that early. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But
I think the worst bleachers in our school is the junior high because they sit back.
Yeah, they're at a weird angle.
They're at a weird. I was talking to somebody. Who was that? Was in the shop getting their hair cut, and we were talking about that. And he actually was on the school board when they put that new building in or whatever. And I was like, so you're responsible? Why? Because you're back and you're like trying not to fall back on the net. And I'll tell you what, when Jim coaches volleyball at the junior high, and I go watch these games, and it's just like I'm miserable. I literally take Tylenol and Aleve and any drugs I can take before I go to the junior high. They sit back. I said, so you're responsible for those bleachers? He said, yeah, at the time I thought they were great. I was one of the ones that fought for him. He said, then I had kids in the junior high and was like, that's dumb. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, because they sit back.
Yeah, it's a weird position.
It's a weird angle. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, I don't like it. But yeah, I look forward to it. And it's kind of like, with Jack, I don't have to, I am bringing him home with me after it's done. Paige has got some stuff to get done today. So I am taking Jack and JoJo home with me after the play, but we'll just play and then we have practice tonight. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's ready.
Good.
I picked him up from school yesterday. He's like, are we going to your house? I'm like, not today, honey. I said, we got practice tonight at the theater, but I want to go to your house, all the way to his house. Why are we going this way? I'm going to your house. It's like, not today, babe. You're going to be there all day tomorrow, all afternoon. So, yeah. But yeah, it's just, I'm looking forward to it. But I don't mind it at the new elementary school because I do feel like there's a little bit more parking. But I think they could have.
You still have to get there early, though.
You still have to get there early, and I'm not sure why they didn't make more parking off to the north. I don't know why they didn't extend that out and make more parking off to the north. They got that whole field because they own that.
There's kind of a swampy area there that's fenced in. It's real low.
Yeah, I wonder what. Yeah, is that?
I don't know if that's why they didn't.
Well,
I don't know.
All it needs dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have done that, or I would not have made it. And here's the other thing I don't like about it. I don't like that big long walk. They could have made more parking even closer because that's a. I mean, when you park, you're walking a long way to get to that school.
Yeah, really, no matter where you park. And one year, my in-laws showed up to that school, and it was raining, and they couldn't find parking close, and they ended up just going home. They didn't even they physically couldn't walk that far in the rain. Yeah. And so they ended up not able to attend.
It's a long walk. And somebody, I got it, because I mentioned that. I'm like, I don't know why you didn't extend more parking closer to why is the building so far? And somebody said, I got a reason for it, but I'm not buying it. They said, well, because if somebody drives a car into,
good grief.
You're not stopping them. That's the dumbest excuse ever.
No matter how far away you are, that's just dumb.
So like they can't.
What are the odds of that happening anyway?
Yeah, you can't drive, but the parking's right next to the building. What if they just drove around the back?
Yeah.
I was like, so somebody's going to run into the school with a car.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll just go around to the back.
They're just going to go around to the back or just do it.
That's kind of a dumb reason.
That was.
But whatever.
I thought so too.
Whatever.
Yeah. And my non-poker face went. Well, that's dumb. Because what? Yeah. Then I started giving him my reason.
But I still get there early because I always wanted to get a good spot that was close. I don't like to climb up a lot of bleachers.
I don't either.
So I always got there early, not because I needed to be on the front row, but anywhere in the front three. I just don't want to climb real high. I don't have good balance. So I would get there early.
My balance is terrible anymore.
My balance is terrible too.
I don't get it. Okay, let's go on with a Christmas ad again. Okay. This is an interesting one because this one's from the 30s.
Ooh.
This Christmas, give war bonds. Look at that. The General Tire and Rubber Company of Akron, Ohio. But look, Dad's back there stuffing the kids. A size for every member of the family. Look at the stockings back there. First of all, this woman caught my eye. Look at how cute she is.
Yeah, she's super cute. I want hair like that.
That hair is amazing. That dress is cool. The red pumps I love. But yeah, she's got the war bonds back behind her. And Dad is, with his pipe, is stuffing the children's stockings with war bonds.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember what were war bonds about? What's the education on that?
I don't know. I don't
were
understand
they worth
it.
anything?
Yeah, I
Apparently
guess.
they had to have been, right?
And why would a kid want that?
Well, they wouldn't. But I always wondered.
I think if I was a kid, I would be like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be worth something one day, but not today. I can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
But I do have a candy cane, so thanks, Mom.
Yeah, thanks, Santa.
I don't know about that. I need to research war bonds. I need to understand that better.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know because I came across that first of all, like the reason why I picked it because she caught my eye. I'm like, love that red dress, blah 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 blah, and then I'm like, war bonds. What's the deal with war bonds? Why would anybody? I don't know.
And in 1930?
1930. That was an ad from the 30s.
Because that was between the two wars.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah.
Somebody out there knows. They're yelling it at the TV right now.
But we're going to come back and we are going to talk about Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. And I had no idea about this man. He was a poet, and he wrote "I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day." And there's a whole story behind that, and we'll talk about him when we get back. Just interesting.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and apparently war bonds, Ty Googled it, you bought war bonds, and then that was a way for the government to make money. So then when you bought war bonds, you didn't have to pay as much in taxes. So basically, the man stuffing his children's Christmas stockings was like, here, Daddy didn't have to pay as much in taxes.
Yeah, take these now. I don't have to pay taxes.
Now I don't have to pay as much in taxes.
You don't get anything out of it, but you get that you feel patriotic and you helped your government.
You helped your country.
It's a good feeling, children. So now for Christmas, I gave you a good patriotic feeling.
Yeah. And then they all got up and sang the Star Spangled Banner.
Probably not what I would have wished for when I was a kid. It's a different time.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like, because we're going to talk about Henry
Wadsworth
Longfellow. And yeah, it's like we're talking about I heard the bells on Christmas Day, and those kids got them saying Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
Okay, so Beth came across, she said, I watched the greatest Christmas movie because we love Christmas movies, right? And I've already watched my first one I bring out, Christmas Vacation.
Yes, already watched that one.
I start out with like Christmas Vacation, Elf, and then I just build up because then I get to my favorites the more the time goes. But then she was like, "You've got to watch this Christmas show." I heard. What is it? Actually, I heard the bells. And I had no idea. I sang that song before in church. You know, I've never done it personally because you can only find the Casting Crowns background tracks for it. I did find a female singing it, but I can't find the tracks for it. Otherwise, I do it because Ben Van Heining used to do it every year when he was one of the preachers at the First Christian Church. And then some of the little girls would get up and sing like the Peace on Earth and the background vocals. And so I'm not touching that song in the church because people identify it with Ben Van Heining.
Yeah.
I had no idea there was a movie made. So is that movie, was it recently made or has it been around a while?
I think it's in the last few years it was made.
Okay,
now
it's set back in the Civil War time.
He
was around during the Civil War. You
can rent it on Prime Video. It's also on the GAC channel.
Yeah, that Friendly.
Yeah,
whatever.
Friendly is the streaming app I use.
Yeah.
But the Great American Family channel.
Okay.
They are showing it now, I think.
I highly
have that channel.
Highly recommend it. Yeah, because this is about he was
good.
A poet.
It was based on the life
story
of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
Yeah, I mean,
who wrote the song "I Heard the Bells on Christmas Morning." He wrote lots of things, but that's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about him. I told Beth the other day. She's like, "What are we gonna?" I said, "You know what? I really found this interesting, and I was clueless to this man's journey." But he was born on February 27th in 1807 in Portland, Maine, and he lived to be 75 years old. I didn't realize, until like toward the end of the movie, like he was married. Prior.
Yes, he was.
He was married to a woman named Mary Potter. They were married for only, 4 years. And unfortunately, she died. Her and the child both died.
She had a miscarriage in 1835.
And she passed away.
Yes, and she died just like a few weeks later. I would say she probably, now after you have a miscarriage, they make sure that you get all of it out or whatever, or you get a terrible infection and die.
And I would imagine that's what happened.
I would imagine that's what happened too.
At this time, Beth, you'll have to, because we're going to kind of bounce back and forth. We both just kind of did our own research on this. Now, at that time when he was married to his first wife, he wasn't the poet at that time, correct?
Well, no, he was actually.
Because he was a teacher at Harvard.
Yeah, but a lot happened before he became a teacher at Harvard.
Give me some information on what happened.
So let's see. So he was born in Portland, Maine, but at that time it was actually Massachusetts. It's now Portland, Maine, but at that time Massachusetts went all the way up.
Okay.
Did you know that?
No, I did not.
I didn't either. And so, I started researching him, and I'm like, wait, it was a district of Massachusetts? Portland, Maine was? But anyway, it was. Okay, so his father was a lawyer, and his maternal grandfather was a Wadsworth, who was a general in the American Revolutionary War. That's why his middle name's Wadsworth, after a Revolutionary general. His mother was descended from Richard Warren, who was a passenger on the Mayflower. Yeah.
Wow.
And his mother also had a Wadsworth in her family, too. But anyway, so he has like a rich history of American settlers. He first went to school at the age of 3, a dame school. I don't really know what that means. And by age 6, he was enrolled at the private Portland Academy. I believe his parents had some money because there was 8 children and they were sending them all to school, private school. His mother encouraged his reading and his learning, and she introduced him to Robinson Crusoe and Don Quixote and was like, read these books. These are really good books. You like to read. You're going to love these. He published his first poem at the age of 13.
Really?
So way before he started going to Harvard.
Before he even started doing anything.
There was a newspaper called the Portland Gazette, And his very first published poem was 4 stanzas, and it was called The Battle of Lovell's Pond. Okay, so he stayed at that private school until he was 14. And then when he was 15, he became enrolled at a school called Bowdoin College in Brunswick, Maine, along with his brother Stephen, because his grandfather was the founder of the college.
So this guy, he comes from well-stocked, highly educated men.
So his grandfather was the founder of the college, and his dad was a trustee on the board. So his dad's on the board, so of course.
Yeah, because like you're reading about him, it's like, okay, they had tons of money. It's like he had to come from something, because did poets make a lot of money back?
I would think not. But
I would think
there was a couple poets we talked about that were in Clay County too. Apparently, it was a job back then. Now it's a hobby. I think.
Now it's a hobby. Yeah.
But okay, so while he was going to school there, he met a man named Nathaniel Hawthorne. You heard of him?
Oh, I think we've heard that
Hawthorne.
name.
Yeah, the author of the Scarlet Letter, right?
I think so.
So they became lifelong friends. And then, let's see, he went to school there for a while. And during his senior year, he wrote a letter to his father about his future. And this is what it said. I will not disguise it in the least. The fact is, I most eagerly aspire after future eminence in literature. My whole soul burns most ardently after it, and every earthly thought centers in it. I am most confident in believing that if I can ever rise in the world, it must be by the exercise of my talents in the wide field of literature. He was passionate about literature.
How old was he at that time?
He would have been a senior in high school or this college. They called it college, but it basically was a high school. Yeah. Yeah. So he was passionate about it. I love his, I don't know, the words that they use, back then. No kid today would be like, I most eagerly aspire.
Yeah.
They would say, I really want to be a writer, But anyway. So he started submitting poetry to different newspapers, magazines, and he had 40 poems published between 1824 and 1825.
Wow. Do you have a young picture of him?
I do. Let's I know I sent in a bunch of pictures of him. Pull up one where he looks young.
Where he looks young. I want to see a young picture of him.
That one's probably about the youngest one I have.
Look at that.
Look at that guy. Yeah.
Wow.
I think he just looks like a nice person, and
I tell
you can tell he's well-to-do. He's got a scarf and his little jacket, and he's dressed well-to-do.
I like that. Yeah, and he's got kind eyes.
He does have kind eyes, and little curly hair.
A little bit
cute.
of curly.
It's kind of cute for the day.
Henry's a little cute for.
Yeah. So after he graduated in 1825, he was offered a job as a professor of modern languages there at his alma mater, or that college. Okay. Remember, his dad's on the board. His grandfather founded it. He graduates, and they're like, hey, we'll make you a professor of modern languages.
Yeah.
There was a guy there named Benjamin Orr, and he had been really impressed by Longfellow and the fact that he could translate other languages. He was really good with languages. So he said, we want to hire you, but we want first to send you to Europe to study French and Spanish and Italian.
Yeah, he spoke several languages, didn't he?
Yeah. So that is when he began his tour of Europe in 1826. He went over there on the ship called Cadmus. He stayed in Europe for 3 years, and it cost his father, guess how much it cost him to stay over there for 3 years?
$3,000.
Well, you're pretty close. $2,604.24.
For how many years?
3 years.
3 years?
But that is the equivalent of over $67,000 today.
Today, yeah.
Wow. He traveled to France, Spain, Italy, Germany, back to France, then to England, and then finally came back to the United States in 1829.
And when you're traveling that way, when you're leaving the States to go there, you're on a boat for 3-4 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like jumping on a plane. It's miserable jumping on a plane and getting there in a few hours. But I cannot fathom that. Can you?
No. While he was over there, he learned French, he learned Italian, he learned Spanish, he learned Portuguese, and he learned German. Almost all of those languages he learned without any formal instruction. He just picked them up. He was one of those guys that was a natural linguist, okay? And while he was in Madrid, Spain, he spent time with a guy named Washington Irving.
Okay, we know Mr. Irving.
And he was impressed by his work ethic, and Washington Irving actually encouraged Longfellow to pursue his writing. And let's see. And then in 1829, he wrote after he'd already been over in Europe for 3 years, because that's what his college wanted him to go do before he started teaching, was to learn all these other languages. He wrote to them in 1829 back to the Bowdoin College and said, actually, I'm going to turn down this professorship because I feel like the salary is disproportionate to the duties required. They were going to pay him $600 to teach there. That is equivalent to $17,168 today.
And that's what they're going to pay him for the year?
After he just spent 3 years learning all these languages to teach, they were going to pay him that much. And he was like, no, that's not going to happen, because you're going to have to pay me more than that.
Yeah.
So then they raised his salary to $800 plus an additional $100 to serve as the college's librarian. That required 1 hour of work per day.
Well, we're going to take a commercial break and come back with some more of Henry Longfellow.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be.
Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're talking about Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, and we're just kind of going through a little bit of his history. But so he started teaching at his alma mater. He ended up getting married in 1831 to his childhood friend, which we mentioned a little earlier. But in 1834, he received a letter from Josiah Quincy III, who was the president of Harvard, and he offered him the Smith Professorship of Modern Languages with the stipulation that he spend a year or so abroad. What is with all these schools?
What is it with going abroad?
Nobody does that anymore. Nobody offers me a job and says, I'd like to hire you, but first I want you to spend a year or two in Europe.
That's never happened to me either.
Never happened to me, but it has now happened to him twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was like, all right, I'll go back. So he further studied German as well as Dutch, Danish, Swedish, Finnish, and Icelandic. But in October 1935, his wife Mary had a miscarriage during the trip. About 6 months into her pregnancy, she did not recover and died after several weeks of illness at the age of 22.
Wow.
In 1835.
I wonder how much longer they were.
Yeah,
show a picture of her.
Yep, this is Mary Potter. She's very pretty.
Yes.
So he had her body embalmed immediately, and then he had it placed in a lead coffin inside of an oak coffin, and then that was shipped to Mount Auburn Cemetery near Boston. And he was, of course, deeply saddened by her death, and he wrote, "One thought occupies me night and day. She is dead, she is dead, she is dead, she is dead. All day I am weary and sad." So he wrote a poem about her. If you read any of his works, the one about his first wife is called Footsteps of Angels. I haven't read it.
I haven't either.
But yeah, so that was Mary. Okay, so then he went ahead and finished his year abroad. Thank you, Ty. And he returned to the United States in 1836, and that is when he became a professor at Harvard.
Okay, so she's already passed?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He had to live in Cambridge and be close to the campus, so he rented some rooms there. And he started publishing poetry again. He published a few things throughout the years, but in 1839, he published an entire collection called Voices of the Night. That was his first debut book of poetry.
See, I was just wondering if you could, get, have to check Amazon. See, I'm sure you can get books of his poetry.
So then later came ballads and other poems. That was in 1841. So a ballad, of course, is a song with, so basically this is his first foray, I think, into ballads, which is going to, help him later when he writes this Christmas song that we're going to talk about. Let's see. So, second wife. He meets a man named Nathan Appleton and his son Thomas Gold Appleton while he's in Switzerland. And he began courting Appleton's daughter, Frances Appleton, or they called her Fanny. Fanny, which I think is cute.
I like the name. It's cute.
It kind of, some people make fun of it, I guess, if you named your kid Fanny, but I think it's cute.
I think it's a cute name.
The independent-minded Fanny was not interested in marriage, but Longfellow was determined. In July of 1839, he wrote to a friend, "Victory hangs doubtful." Of course, this guy he's so dramatic. That's what makes reading him so fun. Like, he's so dramatic in his words, "Victory hangs doubtful." Instead of just saying, "She doesn't seem interested."
Yeah.
Victory hangs doubtful. The lady says she will not. I say she shall. Now I'm thinking he's a creep. It is not pride, but the madness of passion.
Oh, my goodness.
His friend, one of his best friends, encouraged him, says, "I delight to see you keeping up so stout a heart, for the resolve to conquer is half the battle in love as well as war." Yeah. So let's see a picture. Do we have a picture of Frances? She's his second wife. Here we go. This is Frances or Fanny.
Did you notice that in the movie, that picture's there in the movie?
This one? Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. In the movie, there's actually a framed picture of her.
Oh, okay.
The real Fanny.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I'm going to have to rewatch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Miss Fanny.
Yeah, so he was not having much luck courting this lady, and he fell into periods of neurotic depression with moments of panic. And so he had to take a 6-month leave of absence from Harvard.
Because of a woman?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, when old Henry fell in love, he fell in love, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a passionate man. He was either... So he took 6 months leave of absence from Harvard to attend a health spa in Germany.
That's what it helps when you're loaded.
Yeah,
and you come from rich money.
You got lots of money.
6 months off from.
Yeah, work. I know I make a lot of money because I'm a big teacher at Harvard. But I'm going to take not just a few weeks off. I'm going to take 6 months off
to mourn in a spa in Germany.
Because this girl won't go out with me, even though I told her she had to. And I'm going to go to this spa in Germany. So eventually he came back, and then he published the play called The Spanish Student, and that was a success for him. So then after that, his next thing that he published was a collection of poems on slavery. That was now we're into 1842. He was a big supporter of abolitionism. And let's see. In 1843, Longfellow received a letter from Fanny Appleton.
Uh-oh. He wore her down.
He wore her down, and she agreed to marry him.
What, you want to make the heart grow fonder? Leave.
He was too restless to take a carriage and walked 90 minutes to meet her at her house. They were soon married. Nathan Appleton bought the Craigie house, which was a house they had lived in, or Longfellow had lived in prior, as a wedding present. And Longfellow lived there for the rest of his life. So I wonder if this Craigie house must be the house that's featured in the movie.
Yeah.
So when you watch the movie,
it's so beautiful.
It is a beautiful home.
Beautiful.
And I wonder, do you think they filmed it on location?
I don't know. I was going to find out.
And
Ty, see if they I Heard the Bells, if it was filmed at the original at his home, because it was beautiful.
It was a beautiful home, and
the whole thing is
just gorgeous. The
gorgeous.
dresses, the scenery, everything. It's a beautiful movie.
It is. I cried. It's so good.
Yes. So he lived there the rest of his life. This wife, Fanny, was featured in the movie.
How many children did they have? 4 girls, 2 boys?
They actually had 6 children. Charles Appleton, Ernest Wadsworth, Fanny, she only lived a year.
Right.
Alice Mary, Edith. I wonder why they didn't give that one a middle name. And Anne Allegra. Their second youngest daughter was Edith. She married Richard Henry Dana III. Their daughter Fanny was born in 1847, and Dr. Nathan Cooley administered ether to the mother as the first obstetric anesthetic in the United States.
Huh, interesting.
First time they used that, I guess.
It wasn't.
So the home that they used in the movie was not his original home.
I wonder if his original home still standing? I bet it is. It's got to be a museum. See if Longfellow's house is still the original house. So this woman he deeply loved.
He deeply loved
they
her.
Had 6 children, and she had a tragic death.
She had a super tragic death. So
which was not uncommon. You know, they wore these ginormous dresses.
Yes. So
and the house is lit with candles.
This is a super sad part of the movie, but she does die in the movie. I know I'm giving away part of it, but it's history.
It's history.
It's still standing. It's in Maine. It's in Maine. His house is in Maine. It's
Don't we want to go to Maine?
We do want to go to Maine. We need to do that next year.
We're going to do that in the fall. Please.
Okay. So what happened to Frances was that she was putting locks of her children's hair into an envelope. This is in 1861, and she was sealing it with hot sealing wax. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow was sound asleep. He was taking a nap. Her dress suddenly caught fire. It is unclear exactly how. In the movie, they have her knocking down a candle with the back of her dress, and she didn't realize it. Longfellow was awakened from his nap and rushed to help her, throwing a rug over her, but it was too small. He stifled the flames with his own body, but she was badly burned. Longfellow's youngest daughter, Annie, explained the story differently 50 years later, claiming that there had been no candle or wax, but the fire had started from a self-lighting match that had fallen on the floor. So interesting. No matter what, she was badly burned.
Way.
He tried to save her.
Because those dresses go up in flame. You got to consider the time.
Yeah.
You're not just pulling that thing off.
No, there would have been no way. There would have been no way to take. But you know,
so
back
tragic.
in the 1980s when I was a kid, like we were taught every year on a safety day, like if you ever catch yourself on fire, like stop, drop, and roll. They didn't teach that in the 1860s because she didn't do that, although I think it might have helped.
Death by fire back in that time was very common, though. I had a customer that she lived to be quite old, and she lost a sister. Her sister's dress caught on fire, and she died when she was like 8. Her older sister did.
Oh, my.
And so,
what a horrible way to go, too.
Yeah, you just don't. Yeah, I think it happened quite often.
So they took Frances. She didn't die immediately. I think in the movie maybe she does, to kind of make it not so tragic. But in real life, she did not die immediately. She was taken to her room. A doctor was called. She was in and out of consciousness. They administered ether, but she died the next day.
The amount of pain.
After requesting a cup of coffee, then she died. Longfellow also was burned when he tried to save her. He was burned badly enough that he was unable to attend her funeral. So his facial injuries from the burns led him to stop shaving, and that is why he wore a beard for the rest of his life. Yeah. So anytime you saw him with a beard, it was after the fire. He never recovered from Frances's death. He occasionally resorted to laudanum and ether to deal with his grief. We know laudanum is like an opioid. Yeah. It's highly, highly addictive. This is probably being nice, as in saying he occasionally resorted to laudanum. My research on laudanum is that he was probably taking it daily and was unable to get off of it.
Now, at this particular point in time, we're talking Lincoln's day, so it's like we're on the brink of the Civil War. And the last thing that Fanny wanted was, she had 2 boys. The last thing she wanted was for her sons to ever be involved in that war. And it was, basically, he promised that he would do whatever he had to do, because then that caused dissension. But he mourned this woman. He quit writing.
Yes, he did.
It shut everything down.
He was worried that he was going to go insane, and he would beg not to be sent to an asylum. And he also he told several people he was inwardly bleeding to death.
Yeah, and this is a man that he had 6 children. The boys were getting older. What were they? Probably 14, 15. That Charles was his oldest one, and so he's got 5 children to take care of at home.
So 18 years go by. This is a line from one of the things he wrote 18 years later. It's called The Cross of Snow. Such is the cross I wear upon my breast. These 18 years, through all the changing scenes and seasons, changeless since the day she died. So he's saying, 18 years have went by and really nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed.
I mean, he was completely devastated.
Yeah.
Let's look at a few more pictures of him. I know I sent in a bunch of pictures, so.
Yeah, let's check out some more.
There's another one.
So this is probably getting about the time, I would say, by the picture that she probably started passing.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably got all of his kids.
Because you can see, there's probably some scarring on the right side of his face.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but, definitely doesn't look like his happy self. There he is in his older years, full beard, and, he wore that beard the rest of his days. So
yeah, I don't know.
Okay, here he is with one of his friends. What's this labeled, Ty?
Just Longfellow.
Oh, I didn't write down the friend's name. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I would imagine he was some sort of upstanding
Sumner.
Sumner Longfellow.
Sumner. No, I think it's Sumner and Longfellow.
Oh, Sumner and Longfellow.
I think so. I don't remember where I pulled that picture, but
I don't know. But
I think he was a writer too.
Yeah.
It was a good friend of his. And then this is a monument to him in Washington, D.C. So if you ever go there, look for that. I'm not real sure where it's located out there. I didn't write that down. But that's kind of neat with him sitting up there in his chair.
Yeah, that's neat. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's a neat picture.
This is where he's buried, and also where both wives are buried, I believe.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's buried between both wives.
And this is Boston, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so if you ever go back to Boston,
I love Boston. Yeah. Boston's a neat.
This is Fanny with 2 of the children.
It looks like the boys.
Yep, reading a book, maybe one of his father's books. I don't know. Yep.
That's a neat picture.
Yeah, that is a neat picture. We'll have to rewatch the movie and see if that's on the wall somewhere. This is some of his actual writing. Like, this is a manuscript that he wrote. I just thought I would throw that up there because I thought it was interesting. I like seeing other people's handwriting, and this is so long ago and so tiny.
Where's that kept at?
I don't know
where that's at? I don't know. Probably some museum somewhere.
Probably so, yeah.
Probably in that house that we're going to have to go visit. Yeah, that's neat.
Is that all of them, Ty? Yep, that's all the pictures.
We're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to talk about the transition to his older years and the son going to war and how that all ended. We'll be right back.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
Give me a order of lumber. Do
doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh, yeah. Give me all your guns, too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and I have a couple of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's famous quotes. I really like the second one, but so I feel like in this time period, everything's so dark. You know, into each life, some rain must fall. Some days must be dark and dreary, but some heart, though unknown, responds unto his own. I like this next one because this one I think we can take people, how we see people and that type of thing. Every man has his secret sorrows which the world knows not, and oftentimes we call a man cold when he is only sad.
Oh.
And that is true.
Yeah.
You never know what anybody, I mean, I really like that quote.
You don't really know what anyone else is going through, but yeah, it would be easy to say somebody would be cold or difficult.
Or difficult when it's
hard to
just,
get to know, won't talk to you, but they're really just sad. I think there's a lot of that in today's world.
He did his oldest son, Charles, you know, he did not want his children going off to war, but the Civil War started. Charles does get wounded. He goes off, but his dad pulls a lot of strings to keep him from seeing any actual war time, because this is an important part, because this is actually where the bells come into play.
Okay.
So the mother loved to hear the church bells ringing. Okay. They were very religious people. And so anyway, Charles is estranged from his father because he signed up for the Civil War. His dad was like, don't want you to go to war. Then pulled strings behind the scenes to keep the boy from seeing any type of
action,
battle.
direct battle.
Well, but there was an issue. There was a point where he came across an abandoned church where the steeple bell was gone, and he's going into this church and he gets shot. And so he makes his way into the church. They bring him into the church. He didn't die, but laying there on the floor is the bell from the tower had fallen. And this is when this boy finally sees the light of God, starts remembering his mother's, you know, and now decides to read his father's letters. Because the father, of course, Henry had been writing letters, and the boy was so mad at him once he found out that he didn't want him to see any battle.
Yeah, he was mad at it that his dad had pulled strings to keep him safe. And so he gets injured, then he comes home, and then the boy is actually the one that tells the father the story about seeing this bell, seeing the light, and basically told his dad at this point, you need to start writing. At this point. So it's the reuniting. I'm not for sure the time period that the boy was gone off to war. I'm assuming quite some time. And they reunite and they forgive each other. And the boy's telling him, you need to start writing again. And of course, it's right around Christmas Eve. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the mother die on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? Was it right? It was right around Christmas time when she passed. I don't remember.
When she died. But anyway, so that's when he's like, okay, it's time to start doing something. And he writes. But what's interesting is like, it's around midnight. So, you know, back then, all the, you know, whatever the clocks were to let you know what the time was, the clock rang 12 times because it was midnight. And as soon as that clock hit the 12th chime, the church bells are ringing for the new day dawn. And so that's when he hears the church bells ringing.
She actually died in July.
Was it July? Well, I was thinking it was closer to Christmas time.
Yeah.
But you're right.
It might have been portrayed as that in the movie.
Yeah, because it was a Christmas movie. You're right. So they get together, and like I said, you don't even know. I'm going to read a little bit of I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, because it is a hymn. But I don't know if I've really ever seen it in one of our hymnals at church. I don't know. But it's interesting. So you got to take in consideration the whole story of everything. He's coming out of his grieving. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and mild and sweet their songs repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. So that's the very first time you hear that phrase. We hear peace on earth, goodwill to men all the time because of Henry Longfellow. And the bells are ringing, peace on earth. Like a choir, they're singing peace on earth. In my heart, I hear them, peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair, this is where it gets interesting. And in despair, I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And then it goes back to the bells were ringing, like a choir singing. Mm-hmm. They rang the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fall, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. And then it goes back into and the bells were ringing like a choir singing. Those words, because like at this time, like I said, this man mourned his wife for 18 years. And then he wrote that beautiful song.
Well, so peace on earth, goodwill to men. I don't think
is that not his words?
It's biblical. That's in the Bible. That's in Luke.
It is.
That's why I just Googled, because I'm like, isn't that from the Bible? Luke 2:14.
2:14
talks about peace on earth, goodwill to men. Yeah. So then he just used that.
The Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. So it's a beautiful song.
It is a beautiful song.
I listen to an XM channel that is just traditional Christmas songs, and I can't think of who sings it, but there is someone else that sings the same version that Ben sings.
Well, I found
it's beautiful, but I honestly like Ben's version better.
I like the Casting Crowns because it's a little. There's another young lady that's redone it, but like Bing Crosby's done it.
No, this is older than that. Well, I mean, Bing. This is the 1940s, but it's not Bing. I can't remember who it was though.
Who was it? Because gosh, there were so many.
Let me see if I can find it.
Because it would have been an actual hymn. We also, one of his most famous poems was Paul Revere's Ride.
Yes.
So that's another one of his, and we studied that in school. But yeah, so who was some of the original singers of that?
I don't know. You Google and it just comes up, Casting Crowns, and it's like, no,
you can't hardly find anything but that.
Johnny Cash did a cover of it.
Did he?
But that's not who I was thinking of either.
Well, the Casting Crowns version is amazing. It is amazing. I highly recommend that you. Find the movie and watch it.
I do too. Yeah, too.
It is an amazing movie, and you'll love it. And it's a great Christmas movie. But you will do some crying.
Yes, it is sad.
And the actor that portrayed Longfellow was amazing. Yeah. And it's not any actors that I recognized.
No.
But
Me either.
Yeah, you're getting be able to get that Google. But who was one of the oldest ones? There were so many.
Yeah, I don't know. Bing Crosby did cover it in 1956, but that's not who I heard sing it either.
And then you got your basic original versions of it, and the Statler brothers, or Larry Gatlin did a version of it.
Yeah, it was. I know now who it was. I googled it. Harry Belafonte.
Ooh.
He did a cover of it. It was very good. Now he's the one that the Beetlejuice songs.
Yeah.
Day-o. Day-o. Yeah, he did all those.
Daylight to come and me want to go home. Harry Belafonte was a great singer.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
But yeah, highly recommend it.
Yes, it was a good movie, a good story.
Beautiful scenery. The home.
Yes. And that's like one of my favorite. Not that this was a Hallmark movie, it wasn't, but that's one of my favorite things about Hallmark movies.
It
is that this, not always the storyline, because they're pretty predictable. It's the scenery, the towns that they set these in, the beautiful homes. They each have gorgeous homes, and then the outfits.
Oh yeah.
They're always festive, but my favorite part of all the outfits is the coats. Do you ever pay attention? They always have beautiful coats. Like they'll have these wool coats on, and they'll be green or red or berry or it's so pretty. I'm just
fantastic.
I want to wear coats like that.
I want that coat.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, this was a good movie. So I heard the bells on Christmas Day. Look for that movie, and you will like it.
You have to.
You have to. We say so.
You have to. All right.
So what have you got? Let's end this show with something funny.
I think Superman and Santa Claus are actually the same guy. And I tell you why. Both fly, both wear red, and both have a beard.
That's funny because obviously Superman doesn't.
Superman does not have a beard. but according
crack up.
to Jack Handy, Superman and Santa Claus are the same
Deep
person.
Thoughts by Jack Handy. I tell you, that guy is a hoot.
And the illustrations have nothing to do with what they're saying.
Oh,
like
really?
This one's like swans.
Oh, swans.
Swans. Yeah,
Okay.
they have. You'd think there would be like a picture of Superman or Santa. No.
Uh-huh.
Every picture is an illustration.
Okay.
Is greener, is animals, water,
doesn't have anything to do with it.
foliage. Yeah, beautiful farm sceneries, flowers.
That must be a glimpse into his mind.
It's
like nothing really goes together. It's all so random.
Very random. And that's it for today.
Yeah, anyway, you can always find us on Wabash Channel 100 Monday through Friday at 11 and then again at 3. And we're on YouTube. Our channel is By the Way with Beth and Stacey. So that is all for today.
That's it.
We will catch you next time.
God bless you and have a great day.